Hello there everybody, Sam's Trains here, welcome back to the railway and welcome to another review, and it's pretty exciting today because it's a brand new Bachmann diesel. It's not very often that Bachmann release a brand new tooled locomotive, and so when they do, you know that I'm going to get one to review, because usually I end up looking at Bachmann's existing catalogue, which, as you know, sometimes isn't always the greatest. But to be fair to Bachmann, their new releases, their new locos, they do tend to be of a very, very high standard, which makes me pretty excited for this one. So this is a new diesel locomotive. It's a pretty early diesel and it's in a really beautiful livery. And here it is. This is Bachmann's brand new tool for 2021, class 24/1. Now this is an expensive model, don't get me wrong. I mean, it's Bachmann, so of course it is. I believe the RRP for this version is £179.95, and I paid £152.95 from D-Rail's models, which was a fairly good discount. And again, I want to say what a great service I received from D-Rail's. Just look at the packaging, for instance. You've got the full bubble wrap, there's packing paper on top of it, you've got sort of foam clamps around the box to keep it safe. Really, really top job. So I'm very, very happy with the service I received. Quite a discount as well, of course, from the RRP, but it is very, very expensive model nevertheless. So high expectations for this one, but I have a feeling they're going to be met. So come with me, we're going to investigate this. Let's see what the Bachmann Class 24 is like. Hopefully it will be very, very impressive. As I understand it, Bachmann have produced Class 24s for quite a number of years. I've never owned one though, so I couldn't say what those were like, but the point is this is not one of them. This is an all-new design for this year, so it should be very, very high spec, shouldn't it? Let me show you the end of the box. So this is the version I've gone for, although there are others to choose from, so look them up if you want to. This one is 32-443, it's a Class 24/1, it's D5094, and it is in the early BR green, which I think looks gorgeous. And in fact, already you can see just how sharp that livery looks, can't you? Yeah, really, really good. Impressed by that already. And then if I show you the back of the box, there is a brief history on the Class 24s. As always, pause and read that if you want to, but I will give you a little bit of history on the class in a minute. All right, are you ready then? I've not actually had this out of the box yet. It arrived yesterday, and I'll just put it straight down to review today. So here we go. And I suppose, yeah, the first thing I would say is that it's quite a short little diesel, isn't it? It's probably about the same size as the Class 25, and the Class 25 is quite closely related to this, as I understand it, but it's quite a nice size, to be honest with you. I'm more of a fan of smaller locos and such, so this actually appeals to me quite a lot, hence why I was more willing to pay so much for one. Okay, right, well, wow. First of all, look at the size of that accessories bag. All sorts of stuff inside there. We'll look at that in a minute. First though, I'm very interested to see the paperwork. It might show us a little bit more of the loco's features. So here you go, this is the Class 24 diesel locomotive owner's information, and this first page I'm glad to see because it shows you where that whole multitude of different detailing parts is supposed to go. Lots of buffer beam detail, steps, it looks like there's even a snowplow involved as well. That's pretty awesome. All right, let's go for the next page. Running in, lubrication, yeah, it's fairly basic lubrication points. I think this is showing you how to remove the body for DCC fitting, and yeah, there's a look at the chassis actually. So you've got the 21-pin decoder socket inside there. Looks like there are some switches on the chassis to reconfigure the lighting if you want to, although I can't see very, very much in the way of the mechanism and its features and such, so I will have to look into that for myself a bit later on. And then on the back, warranty, spare parts. All right, don't have to worry about that. I think that was all that was in the box. There's just a bit about the Collectors Club and possibly the warranty as well. Yeah, warranty service request. All right. Okay, well, let's take a look at some of those detailing parts in person then. Let's see, my God, there's a lot, isn't there? But some of these are really, really nice to have. So, as per the instructions, you do get a set of ploughs with this loco. That is a great feature. I mean, that's just a whole other mode of operation that you can use this loco for. That's great. You can see we've also got head code discs. That's a really, really nice inclusion. So again, it's that customizability, isn't it? And then you've got lots of different steps and buffer beam parts and such. Many of them are painted as well. So yeah, quite impressed with that. Obviously, as usual, the reason those, well, I should have thought the reason most of those aren't fitted is because they would foul the bogies on tighter radius curves. So obviously be careful about fitting them if you are on tight curves, although most people aren't really these days. Right, are you ready? Let's take a look at the all-new Bachmann Class 24. Wow, got to say, first of all, just the very top of the thing looks great, doesn't it? We've got very convincing looking fan underneath the grille there. That is not just a moulding effect either. There does appear to be a physical fan under there, but we'll look at that more closely in a minute. Right, how does it weigh? Right, well, it feels very, very heavy indeed. I'll be interested to know how it compares in weight to the Bachmann Class 25 that I've got. But there it is, the Bachmann Class 24, and it looks fantastic, doesn't it? It really does look great. The livery application is gorgeous. It's a reasonably complex one when you consider that all the grills are picked out as well. And as usual, yeah, the finish is absolutely fantastic, as you'd expect from Bachmann. So we'll have a bit of history on the Class 24s, and then we'll take a close look at this thing and check out some of those details a bit more close up. All right, let's do it. Also known as the Sulzer Type 2, the BR Class 24 was an early British diesel introduced way back in 1958, and it served as the forerunner to the far more numerous Class 25, as I said just now, of which 327 were produced actually. As for the 24, only 151 were produced over their 3-year production, but they were spec'd with 6-cylinder Sulzer engines, which were turbocharged, so that's with direct fuel injection, and they drove a mighty 735 kilowatt generator in order to power the 222 horsepower traction motors, of which there were 4. I think it was 1 per axle. They were first introduced in this elegant BR green scheme, as I like very, very much, and besides a couple of early withdrawals due to fires and accidents, proper withdrawal of the class didn't begin until 1974, and the very final passenger duty was recorded in 1978 or 9, I think it was, and a decent 4 examples have been preserved as well, so you can still see a Class 24 if you really want to. The rest, very sadly though, were scrapped. So there she is, up close and personal for you, Bachmann's brand new Class 24/1. And overall, yeah, really, really happy with this. It's a great looking model, beautifully presented, and the level of detail definitely seems to be there. Obviously, it's not the largest and most complex loco I've ever looked at, which I suppose does call the very high price into question slightly, but overall, I would say I'm very happy with this. The weight is pretty good as well. It weighs in at 420 grams, which I would have said is a pretty good weight. Although it is over 40 grams lighter than Bachmann's slightly older Class 25 that I've got, and I must say that is something that I've noticed. Newer, very expensive locos are tending to be lighter than older, cheaper ones, which again is slightly questionable, I think, for the very high modern prices. But as you can see, yeah, lovely, lovely engine. So let's first start by talking about the decoration. Well, let's first start by talking about the finish, because this, even though it is a plastic body and the underframe is also plastic as well, the finish is very, very good, particularly on the roof, as I've already noted. But the finish on the sides of the model is very, very good as well. It just looks quality, which is great. This version does have quite a bit in the way of decoration, and for the most part it's done very well. There is the odd blip in the lining on the sides, and a couple of the grills haven't been painted to the highest standard. These minor issues might seem insignificant, but I think, you know, given these high prices, they are a big deal, so they do need to be noted. However, for the most part, the decoration is done very, very well. You've got the British Railways crest on there, which is lovely to see on diesels. I love seeing that. You've got the running numbers on the sides of the cab, and you've also got the little painted door handles, which are very, very tiny. The resolution of this model is certainly high when you start looking up close. And then you've got this little plate underneath the leftmost running number. I'll try and get a close-up on that so you can read what it says. Probably a builder's plate or something, but it's not clear. And then the border between the lower body and the roof is very nice and clean, as you can see. It's actually a very, very precise little bit of decoration right there. No paint bleed whatsoever, and the lining that joins the two together is also very accurate. So yeah, really, really good. Overall, the decoration's great. The level of detail is pretty good, I would say. Now, as far as I can tell, the grills on the side of the body are not etched or anything. And usually I would say that separately fitted etched metal grills do look better than just the moulded painted plastic ones. And certainly, yet again, for such a high price, over £150, that might have been something you expected. However, you can't deny that the grills on this model do look pretty good, don't they? They are fairly convincing. The injection moulding that they do these days on these models is absolutely amazing. So to be honest, this isn't that far from the finesse that you get from properly etched grills. So yeah, no major complaint with that either, really. And of course, the grill up on top, that is separately fitted, I believe, and behind it there is the fan, and if I can, I'll just blow it. Which shows that the fan is actually free to turn. Now, I don't know why. It's not the most realistic thing in the world for a giant to come and blow down one of the vents to derive endless amusement at the fact that the fans turn, but yeah, I suppose that's nice. I presume, given the fact that it's free to turn means that it's not motorized or anything. That's a pity. I would love to have a Loco that actually has that feature working on it, but I suppose the fact that it is free to turn means that you could retrofit a motor into that, possibly. I don't know. It might be fun to look into. Carrying on with the roof of this model is actually pretty complex, unlike other Bachmann diesels that are older than this. So you do actually have a number of different separately fitted parts, which really does help them to stand out. You've got different sort of covers on the roof, which also seem to be separately fitted, gives you a real sense of depth. And then there even are one or two little details on there, possibly exhausts and such, that are separately decorated as well. Separately fitted parts on the body include the plastic handrails on the sides of the doors. Yeah, they look a little bit chunky, they're not 100% nicely formed, and they are a little bit flimsy, but they look okay. There is a slight issue with some of the lamp brackets. A couple of them are actually a little bit on the wonk there. Again, anything like that is completely unacceptable at these high prices, so I do keep mentioning them. Little bit of frosting, I don't know if you can see this, little bit of glue frosting on this particular end where they haven't been too careful with the glue application, but I wouldn't describe it as a major issue. And while we're here on the end, you can see we do have the openings for presumably lights. I think it's fairly safe to assume that this Loco is going to have lights on it, so we'll take a look at those working later on. You've got the separately fitted wipers on the front windows, which is nice. And you've also got some very, very sturdy metal handrails on the front. Those are much better, and that's exactly what you'd expect. And then we do have the metal sprung buffers, which are very good indeed. Yeah, I do like that feature. I suppose one of the most impressive, albeit possibly less interesting, aspects of the model, for me at least, is the bogies. There's a lot of detail on these bogies. A little bit of decoration, you've got this sort of white wire or pipe that goes across them, but if you get in close you can see just how much detail there is. It's very multi-layered. You can look through the gaps and see the suspension springs and such, separately fitted ladders and steps and such. Very, very detailed bogies, far more so than on my older Bachmann 25 or anything like that. Yeah, they really do look great. The cabs also have some very nice flush glazing to them, as you can see, and inside the cab there is actually quite a lot of decoration. There's the seats that are separately painted, the back wall of the cab has some detail and also some decoration on it, and there are some various controls and gauges which do appear to be picked out. It's not all that often that you see painted detail on a diesel, but it's great to see that here. I have noticed though there is no driver or anything or any crew of any sort fitted into this. That is something that Bachmann used to do, and in fact I think we saw that on the LMS 10,000 not all that long ago. So it's a pity that they haven't included that. That would finish off the cabs really, really nicely, but overall no complaints on the cab. They look amazing. So hopefully that is a good overview of the model. Yeah, generally speaking, it's a good looking model. One or two minor quality issues which are not that acceptable for the price, of course, but overall I would say it is a high quality model that looks fantastic. And before we go, yes, there are NEM couplings pre-fitted to the model which are free to pivot very slightly to enable it to haul rolling stock round a curve without any problems. Right, so I'm very, very interested to see what the mechanism is like on this. Are Bachmann continuing to use the old tried and tested mechanisms like we saw on the Class 25? I'll put a card up for that if you want to see what that one was like. Or is this completely different? Has it got a totally different mechanism, different motors? Yeah, very, very interested to find out. So I will take a look at the mechanism, I'll film it, then we'll get it down onto the track and I'll give this its first ever run. Right, well there it is, the Bachmann 24/1 down onto the track. And I tell you what, it's gone from a fairly box standard loco to a loco full of bizarre surprises. Yeah, the mechanism's really, really good, fantastic mechanism, but it's got things inside it that it shouldn't have. Nice things, don't get me wrong, there's not nasty surprises, but yeah, I'm scratching my head. Bizarre. Anyway, let's just start out as usual and we'll see these strange things as they come. So first of all, this loco is all-wheel drive and all-wheel pickups, which is fantastic. That's the standard these days, but it's worth mentioning them, I suppose. Now here we go, I'm removing the base keeper plate. Hopefully Helgen is watching this because this is how a loco chassis should look. So first observation is that the bogie chassis is entirely metal. It's not two pieces of cheap plastic sandwiched together by the base keeper plate. It is a very heavy metal chassis, which is great, very good quality. Then you've got proper bearings on the driving axles, fantastic feature, really glad to see that. And the final observation is, look, screw holes. This bogie is held together with screws, not just clips. So if the clips fail that hold this base keeper plate on, it won't matter because you've got screws holding the base on. Fantastic, fantastic quality, amazing. Right, here's where it gets weird. I take off the body, which isn't that easy to do because you've got wires stretching to the cab lights, although they are plugged in so you can unplug them if you really want better access. And you've got this metal chassis, but look, it's full of loads of detail right there on the diecast. Loads of detail, but you can't see any of this detail. From the outside of the model, you can't see any of it. Because all of these grills are just plastic and part of the body, there's no way to see any of that detail behind there. So why is it there? It's really, really strange. If they had have used proper etched grills that you could see through, you could actually see that detail, but as it is, it's wasted. So that's a real shame, isn't it? Now, look at this circuit board. Have we bought an 80s computer, or is it a locomotive? We might never know. But anyway, it's got loads of features. It's got the speaker. I think there is a pre-fitted speaker inside there, which is pretty good. You've got this. Now that, to me, does not look like a blanking plate. This is not a DCC fitted locomotive, but that sure does look like a DCC decoder. So if this has a DCC decoder in it, which it shouldn't do, I'm pretty sure, then that's a really nice bonus, isn't it? So I'll try it on DCC and see what happens. If that proves to be a DCC decoder, that will just blow my mind. I think I'll stumble into an alternative dimension. Anyway, can't see the motor for obvious reasons, and I don't fancy taking that circuit board to pieces, but you can see there are proper bearings on the bogie, so it's a quality mechanism. And if it performs well, we'll know it's a quality motor as well. Absolutely loads of LEDs on this thing. Look at the ends there, just tons of LEDs. Can't wait to see what they look like. And the gauge is absolutely fine. It measured in at 14.4 or 14.5 back to back on every driving axle, so no problem whatsoever. But yeah, I can't get over that, the idea that this might actually have a decoder in it. So yeah, I don't know. Let's plug in my DCC controller, and if it's not a decoder and it is just a blanking plate, then the loco should make a horrific screeching noise as soon as I plug this in. You ready? 3, 2, 1. No noise, no screeching. Let's turn up the controller on DCC. Oh, it has a decoder fitted. What? Now I've double checked, the listing for this product number is not a DCC fitted locomotive. So yeah, check your class 24s. Have they got decoders in? Is mine a mistake? Did they put the wrong chassis on the body? I don't know, I really don't know. But it's not very often that I rip Bachmann off, is it? So I suppose I'll happily consider this compensation for all the times I've bought a Bachmann model and haven't got what I paid for. So it's actually quite nice to have the tables turn a little bit just for once. So yeah, for some reason, this is DCC fitted and it's behaving oddly. Like it's taking absolutely ages to slow down and stop. Let's go the other way. In fact, no, let's not go the other way. Look at it, it's decelerating at a ridiculous rate. All right, well, we can test the crawl very nicely, I think, on DCC. Are you ready? Turn it up just a touch. Ah, it's fantastic. Now, I always say, I will test a loco exactly as it comes out of the box. So if it has a decoder fitted, I'll test it on DCC. If it doesn't, I won't. And so, it's got to be a mistake. Maybe they do just come with decoders now, I don't know. I'd be very interested to know if anyone else has got a free decoder with the Bachmann Class 24. It's a great crawl. Let's activate some of the functions, see if I can get some lights on. Oh my God. It's playing sound. What? How can that be? Is this the right product? The box says D5094, and that's what I bought, and that is what we've got. What? That is crazy. What? Oh, that sounds pretty nice. Is it going to go? Right, well, I've managed to get the lights to work, and look at this. You've got this lovely sort of fading effect as you change direction. I guess that must be a feature of the DCC decoder. Really nice colour temperature as well. Let me try and get a closer look at this. There you go. Yeah. Lovely warm white, lovely deep red. Yeah, great brightness as well. You can definitely see those, which is a bonus always. So that is very, very strained indeed, isn't it? No idea what's gone on there. So in the past, I've told derails models that I don't want my models taking out and testing and such, so I'm pretty sure it's not a case of derails, you know, taking a 24 out to test and then putting it back in the wrong box. So I'm fairly sure that Bachmann must have just put this into the wrong box at the factory and it's got DCC sound. Now, that is obviously their mistake and not mine, and I think strictly speaking, I mean, I bought a product, this is what arrived, so this is mine, but I don't want to do anything unethical. So this video is me saying, this has happened, I've got this. If Bachmann want to get in touch and swap it, you know, with a non-DCC fitted one, then I won't have any objections. Obviously though, they will need to cover all of the postage costs, and like Bachmann, my service has come at quite a premium price, so obviously I will need some compensation for any inconvenience caused, and the inconvenience is very great. But let's have a look, let's see how this crawls. Let's do this again. I'll set this to 1 mile per hour, see what happens. I'm now doing this on Railmaster because it is slightly better for control than my Select that I plugged it into to start with. Be interesting actually, because this did a great crawl under the Select, didn't it? But if it can't crawl well on this Railmaster software, then we'll know that it's the software to blame and not the loco. Oh no, that's still very good. Right. So that is a superb crawl, isn't it? Really, really good. And I suppose now I've got the opportunity, it might be good to switch over to my analog controller. Oh, cut off the sound there. And we'll just see whether or not the crawl is as good on analog. And I hear apparently that these sounds are supposed to work on Bachmann locos, aren't they? On analog? Let's see. No, just the lights are working and that's all. Alright. So maybe I've got it wrong then. I'm sure Bachmann have said in the past that their DCC sound locos work fine on analog. This one doesn't. I turned it right up to full power there and nothing. So yeah, there's your answer on that one. Right, well, it's not yet been running, even though it's running absolutely fantastically. So let's set this to, I don't know, what do you reckon, 40, and we'll watch it run. So this is a fantastic runner. It's handling the layout absolutely perfect. It's very, very quiet, except for the sound it's making, which was unexpected, but no, it's quiet, no motor noise or anything. Very, very smooth and consistent in its speed. And actually the quality of the sound, might as well talk about it since we've got one with sound, is very, very high. Given the size of that speaker, I mean, we saw it, didn't we, inside the chassis there. Not a very big speaker at all, and yet the sound it's producing is pretty good. It's not bad at all. So I'm impressed with that. I'll leave this thing to run in, even though I'm pretty sure the performance won't get any better because it was spot on, straight out of the box. But I'll see you later and we'll finish off the review. Okay, Oh, stop. Okay, that was a better stop. So I am back, running in has completed, and it was perfectly okay. So incredibly silky smooth, never any jumping on points, curves, no slowing down, absolutely fantastic performance, really, really good. The one thing was that the acceleration and deceleration of the loco was ridiculous. It was taking 30 seconds to a minute for the loco to stop when I hit stop. Now don't get me wrong, obviously that is 100% realistic, more realistic than any other loco in my collection, but for someone impatient like me that wasn't to my taste, so I've changed the CV so that it's much more sudden, as you can see. Wait for it, there you go. Obviously much less realistic, and it's right and it's proper that out of the box Bachmann have programmed these to accelerate and decelerate realistically, but that wasn't to my taste, so I've changed it. Right, so let's take another look at that crawl. I mean, it won't be any better. I suppose it could be worse, we'll see. But it's not going to hurt to do this again because it's just so excellent to watch. 3, right. And the thing about this is, it's slow, and most locos can go slow, but this is just very, very constant, isn't it? Reverse. It's incredibly smooth, even down to the very slowest speed it's capable of. And we are backwards. It's really, really good. And I suppose since I've got the sound here, I better let you hear some of them. Go. You hear that? Yeah, it's a better sound chip than on, well, any other loco I've ever had. It's lovely. Let's do again, another sound. Nice little horn there. And I've got the option, I think, because I haven't got any paperwork for this decoder, so I'm having to guess, but I think there is function 2, I think it is, that is some sort of dynamic brake or something, because whenever that function's activated, the loco won't go anywhere. So I can set it up to sort of 23 speed or something, and it will rev up, but it won't move anywhere, so that's pretty nice. And then I can release the brake, what I think is the brake. You hear a hiss, and then at a very unrealistic speed now, it goes off, like the clappers. But out of the box, it didn't. It was very realistic. Let's put that brake on again. Oh, okay. So, if I want the thing to slow down realistically, I'm grabbing it because I don't want it to crash into the coaches. What, is it actually slowing down? I think it is, but I'm going to stop it because I don't want to burn the thing out. So yeah, maybe that will, maybe that function 2 there would slow it down more realistically, but I don't know because I haven't got any of the paperwork for the decoder. Right, so the pulling power is immense. Like I say, this loco does weigh 420 grams, excuse me. So the pulling force, the tractive effort, is 0.62 newtons, which is very, very high for a loco of this size, which should enable this to haul around 36 coaches on straight and level track, which is very impressive. I haven't set up 36 coaches, I've set up I think 7 right there, so not a huge rake, but obviously she's going to handle those with 0 issue. So let's go do it. Look at that, how controllable is that? Incredibly so. And I suppose also this proves that, you know, when I've got some more reviews like this coming up actually of sound locos, but you know when I say that a loco is almost completely uncontrollable on Hornby Railmaster, and I don't know whether to blame the software or the loco, well, this loco is very easy to control. So I can safely say it is the loco to blame and not the software. That said, I'm trying to activate the lights and nothing's happening on Railmaster, and I've also had much the same thing happen with other locos with, DCC and lights fitted. So that is Railmaster's fault, because obviously the lights did work on this when I was using the Select. So yeah, it's not Bachmann's fault, it's Hornby's, or Hornby's software engineer, I suppose. Let's hope he's not working there anymore. Anyway, let's go. Oh, horn. I think that was a slightly different horn that time as well, very nice. Okay, so today's theme is going to be Bobo diesel locos, and there is an odd one out to that theme, so see if you can spot which one that is in the sidings. And if I can remember how to use my controller properly, which obviously I can't, I'll show you which ones I'm going to be running alongside it. So this is the Bachmann Class 25, which I believe I've mentioned today. This one actually is quite a lot older, but it runs just as well. It is heavier and stronger, and it was obviously quite a bit cheaper. But in terms of detail, the new Bachmann 24 is obviously far better. And it's not quite the same class, so you can't directly compare them or anything. And that's got some blood and custard coaches, which look lovely, I think. And then finally, just because I want to run a class 24, 25 and 26, because that's awesome, I've got the Haulage class 26. So yeah, there's quite a lot of these 20-something models out there, and they're all kind of similar, but all also quite distinctive and quite nice to have together. So there you go, and that's got some of my AliExpress wagons, which are fantastic, very good runners. Right, let's go and watch the class 24 at work then, shall we? What a lovely loco it is. Yeah, she looks the part, absolutely fantastic. And I suppose besides the fact that they are very, very, very expensive, they are fantastic models. There is really no reason why I wouldn't recommend buying one of these, besides the fact that you might not be able to afford to eat for a little while. But yeah, sure, fantastic models, looks amazing. I suppose for someone like me who is really into the mechanics of model trains and stuff, the highlight, as silly as it seems, is definitely the mechanism and the performance. I admit that was the part I've enjoyed the most, you know, taking off that base keeper plate and just seeing what a quality mechanism was inside there. Yeah, to me there's nothing better than that, but obviously I realise most people would rather a loco look good, but yeah, not me. If you've got a good quality mechanism in there, I suppose the battle is 75% won. But yeah, lovely, lovely loco, and of course it just performs so well as a result. Great puller because of all the weight, so smooth, so quiet. Yeah, it's the perfect performer. It really is. You could not ask for better. You couldn't. There's just nothing about it that I would criticise in terms of performance. Let's have some ratings then for Bachmann's brand new class 24/1. So the level of detail I thought was really, really good. Yeah, it looks fantastic, doesn't it? I haven't given it the full 5-star because there is all of that detail on the chassis, which is completely hidden from view. Quite confused by that. So if the loco had proper etched grills, which you'd expect for this kind of price anyway, then you'd be able to make the most of that detail and maybe even see it. Also, it would be lovely to get some crew in these models. I mean, in the past, Bachmann have done that on cheaper models than this. So yeah, it's a pity that we don't have anything like that. But overall, yeah, the detail's really, really good. Fantastic. Particularly like the decoration and also the finish. It looks amazing. Performance then, I've given 5 stars. Can't get this to run on DC, unfortunately, so I guess this rating is for the DCC sound version. Yeah, it's not ideal actually, this mix-up. It's quite annoying from that point of view, because I can't do a truly accurate review of the model I actually bought, but I'm not complaining for obvious reasons. But yeah, under DCC it's very, very good indeed, and I saw how good the mechanism was as well, so I do think that would be typical of DC performance as well. The pulling power is absolutely incredible, 0.62 newtons, that is equivalent to around 36 coaches on straight and level track, which is obviously pretty darn good. That's actually more than the LMS 10,000 from Bachmann, which is a far larger loco. Great pulling power. The mechanism then, this is quite common actually with Bachmann diesels, not so much their older steamers, but I have given this 5-star. So we've got high quality bogies, die cast, not just cheap plastic, proper bearings, all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickup, a lovely motor, not sure if it's 3 or 5 pole, but let's be honest, it's not going to be a cheap 3-pole motor with performance like that. Fantastic array of circuitry on board, so you've got the speaker pre-fitted. If you're dead lucky, you might even get a DCC sound chip on there too. But no, generally speaking, very, very good, and lots of lights as well, which look and work very, very well too. The quality then, I've given 4-star. Now it doesn't get 5 because the model looks a bit plasticky in places, and you've got 1 or 2 parts that aren't fitted 100% correctly, as well as the hiccups, very slight but present hiccups in the decoration. But other than that, yeah, the quality's great. It's very, very heavy, looks amazing, and despite 1 or 2 wonky details, it's actually not a fragile model at all. I felt very comfortable holding this, which says a lot, doesn't it? Okay, value for money then. So the RRP for this is £179.95, and I believe the RRP for the DCC Sound one is £279.95, I believe. I didn't look that one up initially because that isn't what I bought. Incidentally, £100 extra for DCC Sound is a bit ridiculous because frankly the only difference is the chip. And as we know, chips like that are not expensive to produce particularly, certainly not to the tune of £100. And as we also know, I've purchased entire locomotives with sound from Bachmann's USA range for £100 or less. So yeah, there's no reason why they should be that expensive. And similarly for £179 or £152, this is a bit too expensive really for what it is, isn't it? I mean, it's great, don't get me wrong, you get what you pay for in terms of the performance and the mechanism, but I would want the etched grills, I would want the pre-fitted crew, I would just want a little bit more if I was paying that much. But overall, yeah, to an extent you do get what you pay for, so it's not a terrible score there on value, just 3 stars. Overall then, that is a really good score for Bachmann, 8.37 out of 10. Let's put that into the logbook for this year. There it is, it's in 6th place above the Hornby W4 Peckett and below the Hornby Merchant Navy. So that's very nearly in the top 5 and deservedly so. It's a fantastic loco. Well folks, thank you very, very much for watching. Yeah, that was, I'm still slightly in a daze over what's happened with this one. Yeah, no idea how Bachmann have managed to cock that one up, but usually these mistakes and such and problems, they normally are to the detriment of a customer, aren't they? But not on this occasion, so you know, I'll take that as a welcome change. I'm expecting to get an email from Bachmann to say it was a mistake, can you send it back? Here's some money. But if they do, that's okay. You know, I don't really expect to get anything for nothing in this hobby because I'm not an idiot. But it was fun to be able to test one, and there's no way of taking that back. So I guess I'll be thankful for that, yeah, because otherwise I would never have been able to show you a DCC sound one. And it ain't going to happen again, we'll get that straight right now. I can't afford DCC sound on a regular basis. So yeah, consider that a major bonus. But thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as always. I will see you very soon for some more videos. Got lots of exciting projects coming up to show you, so that should be good. It's nice to be able to be positive about Bachmann. They did a good job with this loco and I'm pleased that my video is going to reflect that. So that's it. Thanks for watching. You take care of yourselves. Have a great week. Cheers everybody.